They did it. We got an edge. The Detroit Lions drafted edge in the 6th round. We're going to get into the player, what he means to the Detroit Lions, what it means to the defensive line. We'll grade it going forward with this. I know a lot of fans are happy, as am I. But before we get into today's video, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Why is that? Because we are doing this live right now, and we still got another selection in the 7th round, so we can talk about that player. So the Detroit Lions decide to finally draft an edge. Ahmed Hassanein, he's actually from Boise State, but actually, interestingly enough, he is the first Egyptian to be in the NFL. The 6'2", 267 product out of Boise State. He plays all over the defensive line, prominently edge, right? 267 there, but he can play if he needs to. This guy, he's going to bring some ferocity to the Detroit Lions. Now, look, he's already had 9.5 sacks last year, 20 assisted, 28 solos, 0 forced fumbles, late-round pick, but I think he's a player that actually could get some time, at least in rotation, not necessarily being that number one edge like everybody wanted, but to come in here and give some rotation, and that is something that the Detroit Lions really, really need here. Let's go ahead and get some positive traits about Mr. Hassanein. Explosive first step off paired natural leverage allows him to consistently win off the edge. He converts raw power by devastating bull rush, shows advanced instincts for a player limited experience, relentless motor, and runs through hot water to the whistle. Natural bend and flexibility to his hips enables him to turn right. Disciplined edge setter who rarely surrenders. Nasty hand, fighting technique, high-end athletic traits. Now, look, here's a 6th round pick for a reason. That means not everything is going to be nice and shiny for this player. Still developing his pass rush arsenal, right? He's going to come in here and he's going to help out, but he's still developing. He needs to get better with his tackling. Obviously, that is huge. It comes to the Detroit Lions. They're big into tackling. I think that's something that Dan Campbell and this coaching staff absolutely can work with and get it done. Before we continue on, grade this selection, A, B, C, D, or F. I'll do my grade here in a little bit about this pick and what I think. Let's continue on and talk about what he needs. A limited experience and drop it into coverage. It's going to need a little bit of that. But again, I think he's predominantly just going to be go ahead and pin your ears back for especially the limited time that he's going to be on the field. Sometimes he does play too fast, and you don't want to, get past the quarterback, right? You're not wanting to be too aggressive. So he's got to learn how to do that. These things are learning, though, right? These are things that you can learn out of a player. And that's what the Lions are banking on here, because this guy is a good player, right? He's developmental edge. He's a perfect fit in a 4-3, and I think it seems like that's kind of the direction that we're going here if you look at the defensive line. And just give him some time, right? Give him some time, and he will, I think, develop into a quality player. And that's what the Lions need right now. Quick shot to the sponsor of today's show. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. It is the best ticketing app, the #1 trusted app for me, and the app that I want you guys to get. It has so many great features, specialized in last-minute deals, and saves up to 60% when buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theaters. It don't matter. They have Game Time picks, making last-minute ticket buying easier than ever by quickly highlighting the best seats in the stadium. And there's so many events going on right now, whether it's concerts, baseball, Tigers, hockey, NBA, Pistons, a lot going on. The best part about Game Time is that you can see the price of your ticket right up front. And when you're doing all the pricing, you're not getting surprised by hidden fees at checkout. They also have the lowest prices guaranteed. And if you find tickets that is cheaper in a different ticketing app or service in the exact same seat, same row, same everything, Game Time's going to credit you 110% of the difference. Go see the Tigers. Go see the Red Wings. Go see the Pistons. Go see concerts this summer in Detroit. So get started today and take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. If you plug in Chat Sports, you're going to get $20 off your very first purchase. Again, go to the redeem code section. You plug in Chat Sports, ChatSports, to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms to apply. You have to create an account. You got to have an email to save that money. Now, the link is going to be in the comment section and description of this video. So download Game Time app. It's last-minute tickets and lowest prices guaranteed. Well, let's continue on talk about Hassanein here and going for it, right? He's met with the Detroit Lions as something they clearly liked him, at least as a late-round flyer on a developmental player. Look, he's a little bit shorter, right? 6'2", so his size a little bit undersized, but he has produced in college level. We look at production, We look at what they can do on the field. When they're on the field, not necessarily just their traits to see what they can do. Remember, Aiden Hutchinson said he had the short arms. We didn't really care about that. I'm not saying, obviously, he's Aiden Hutchinson. That's absolutely ridiculous. But I'm just saying not measurables is everything. So just because they're a little bit shorter doesn't necessarily mean they can do bad. We'll see what he can do, right? We'll see what they can do. But at least from his negatives that he does have, the negatives, I think there's a lot of that stuff can be worked out. That's really it, right? That can be worked out, except for obviously his height. That can't be worked out. But, I mean, being more patient and pass rush, you're not overextending and missing the quarterback and all that stuff. And tackling is fundamental. They're big into tackling here. And that's where he's got to get better. That is his biggest weakness right now is tackling. So we'll see if they can get it out. If they can, though, look, the Lions got a solid player on the rotational piece, and I'm never going to get upset about that. And when I think about the grade, I'm giving this one a B+. Why am I going to go B+ here? Well, I think that he can get worked out, right? He can develop. I think it's going to help out, at least from, having situations and multiple pass rushers that you can have him out there and make the move. Still need to, obviously, he's got things to work on. His late-round draft pick. Let's not get all butthurt about that. Let's go ahead and then talk about what it means going forward. For the defensive line, anybody who's currently on the roster, at least from the edge position, it means nothing. But I think, especially how this draft went, Zadarius Smith, and I've talked about it in a couple videos, you would expect the Lions to contact him to come back to Detroit. Then you can have Hassanein, you can have Smith, you would have Davenport, Pascal, Al-Qadim Mohammed, obviously Aiden Hutchinson. That's much better, in my opinion. You're putting a vet in there mixed with a rookie who to develop. He can develop behind Zadarius Smith. This would be his last year if the Lions did a one-year flyer. That makes sense, in my opinion. It makes a lot of sense. So we'll see what the Lions do. We'll see if they'll go ahead and pick up Smith after this draft. We still got another draft pick. We got a pick in the 7th round. We're going to be seeing who the Detroit Lions select there. Who knows? It could be any position at this point. It's best available, or what they think the player can do, right, is taking an absolute and utter flyer. We're talking about a 7th round pick. So whatever position it is, it doesn't matter, to be honest with you. The Lions will pick up undrafted rookies. Generally speaking, one or two of these guys make an impression in camp. We'll see who does that and who gets picked up as undrafted rookies. But the draft is almost over. I know that's exciting. It is a long day. We're all excited about that to be over with. So give me your thoughts about this draft pick. Grade the draft pick. We got one more to go. With that said, folks, adios.